Alright guys, here's my new project. This is a 2006 Dodge Ram 2500. It's got the 5.9 Cummins turbo diesel automatic. This thing has obviously been in a little accident. A good friend of mine actually was driving the truck when he got ran into. Obviously the car came at him this way, knocked the front axle right out from underneath the truck. I actually put the truck on its side, and I've got some pictures there I'll put up. Obviously, it's got some damage, but I think it's fixable. And believe it or not, this thing starts right up. So that's the worst of it. This side over on the passenger side almost looks untouched. The lines in the hood, the door. And this thing fires right up. And you can't kill these trucks. This thing definitely is tough. You hear that? Nuts. So I looked this thing over really close, and it appears to me that there isn't any frame damage, but obviously we got to relocate this front axle, and he's gonna need a rim, and somewhere in here is the tie rod, or what's left of it, and the control arms that located this thing just ripped out of place, and it really didn't look like it hurt the frame too badly. And we got lucky because this apron that's welded to the cab, the only damage I found is this right here. The cab support, everything looks in place. And even the cab where the rocker panel is, doesn't look that bad. So I think he might get lucky because he just bought this truck probably 2 months before the accident and put a pile of money into this thing. So the goal is try to get this thing back together on the budget. This is not going to be like a full restoration, you know, big paint job, the whole works. No, we're just going to get this thing together cheaply, on the budget, get it so that he can have a working truck again. And I think it's doable. So we're going to start getting this front end up in the air so I can assess the damage. It's leaking coolant. We got to see what's going on. I think the radiator is going to need to be replaced, and maybe the intercooler. See what it's going to take to get this axle underneath the truck, and we'll go from there. Well, that took a little longer than I thought to jack this thing up in the air and get blocking under it. But it's done now, it's secure. Took a lot of time because, one thing, I had to get it up off the ground and I had to go back and forth on each side, and I only had one jack here at the house. And also, I have to block behind the control arm hangers because I gotta get up in here and I gotta slide this axle under. Looking at the damage here, it really doesn't look that bad. I mean, yeah, obviously it needs control arms, upper and lower. The yoke pulled right out of the drive shaft, and it looks like, it's hard to see, but it looks like I can save that. The oil pan and everything. Steering arm, and the locator arm here is bent, so I gotta replace that, and the tie rods, and it's hard to see, but the radiator and aftercooler obviously need to be replaced. Brake lines, ABS lines. But frame-wise, I mean, the thing looks pretty darn nice. I mean, as nice as a main truck can look. I think once I get this bumper off of here, it really won't look that bad in that fender. So here's the tie rod, and that's where it broke off the spindle. Sway bar came disconnected, which that's not really a big deal for right now. There you can see the locator arm there, and also the tie rods. Ripped the shocks, so those are obviously going to need to be replaced. But all in all, this thing looks like it ought to be slid back under there pretty easily. So the main goal for right now is to get this truck so I can roll it onto my trailer. So obviously I can't do anything with it here at the house. I got to get this to the shop, and I can't really do anything with it the way it is now with the axle hanging out from underneath it. So the main goal for the first round is to get this axle underneath the truck so I can move it over to the shop and I can really get looking at it, get some measurements, make sure this thing is worth putting more money into before we start doing cosmetics, doors, fenders, bumper, all that stuff. So I'm going to try to get this thing rolling.